Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. For a while I have been wanting to do a comparison of the cardstocks that I have in my stash. Over the past, I guess almost 7 years, I've managed to accumulate a few different brands, whether I purchased them or they were gifted or whatever. And I'm going to do 4 tonight that are the same or similar weights. They are the Simon Hurley, the Accent Opaque, which is, I've been using that for years now. It's the main cardstock that I purchase and have in my cardstock collection. This is the Nina Classic Crest Solar White. Now, the Simon Hurley, I got the sample pack to try. It does not say what weight or anything on it, but it seems comparable to these. The Accent is 100 pound, 110, and then I have this Hammer Mill, 100 pound. And I don't have much of this left. I've managed to use it all up. It's not my favorite. So what I did to save time, because I didn't want this to be like a 2-hour video. So the first thing I did is alcohol ink. So I just did one image and I tried my best to keep my strokes and my coloring all the same, the way I went over the images. Of course, it's not going to be exact. And I have all of these marked. So I will tell you, I don't really know if you can see the difference. The Accent is the most white of all of them. Let me see if I turn on this other light. The Accent is actually appears to be the whitest. The Hammer Mill is probably next, then the Simon Hurley, and then the Nina is very beigey. So, and I don't know if that shows up on the video. So, but this one is really the whitest. I did not really notice that much difference in the way the alcohol inks did on these papers. So, here we go. Wait, where am I? So that's the Simon Hurley. Then we have the Accent Opaque. Then the Nina. See, this is the Nina here. And then that is the Hammer Mill. So they're pretty comparable. The hammer mill actually might be slightly smoother in the blend. So there's the alcohol coloring. To see how they stand up to getting a little bit damp, I went ahead and put some paste on them. And I used, is it the Crafter's Companion? Hang on a second, let me find it. No. So, TCW, Crafter's Workshop. I use this turquoise stencil butter. And I was kind of surprised. So this, this has nothing to do with the paper or the stencil butter. I didn't realize the stencil had something stuck on the back side of it when I did these. But anyway, so I don't know if you can tell. Let's see. This is the hammer mill, and it warped the least. As a matter of fact, I think since I set it over there, it curved up a little bit. It was already dry, and the Nina dried the second. These were the two flattest. They didn't get warped as badly, which I was really surprised at. Then the Simon Hurley and my Accent Opaque was actually the worst about curving up. It was rainy here today, so that's why I think these got a little bit, they all got a little bit more warped than they were because of the damp. But I was really surprised because I thought the Simon Hurley and the Accent were going to do better. So if I had to just grade them on warping, the Hammermill would have come out first. Then the Nina. Then probably the Simon Hurley. And then the Accent. So that was my warp testing. And then I thought I would do a little bit of ink blending on them. And that is what I'm going to do now. So let me grab out a sheet of each one. Come on. Okay, and I'm going to turn them over because I'm actually going to use these later. And I want to be able to, well, I won't have to erase them because I'll be gluing them down. So funny about the difference in the colors. Now this Accent in this light almost looks gray. It's like, is there, you know, like a variation in the sheets or something of cardstock? Anyway, let's just do some ink blending. And I decided to use Distress Oxide because they blend so smoothly and you get great coverage. And I'm just going to do in rainbow order whatever will fit on them. So I hope everybody has had a good week. I know we have had cold, and then it warmed up and rained, and now it's getting cold again. And I am just going to go do one color on each piece of cardstock. This evidently needs a lot of concentration. So far that's the Hammer Mill and the Nina. And the Nina actually looks a little bit smoother. I just want to be able to clean up after all these colors. Which one is this? I think this is the accent. I know some people have said they feel like the accent just sucks up your ink. I'm not sure that's a bad thing though. Because when it pulls that ink in, it is going to, you know, give you a darker color, I feel like. Now, one thing I want to do while these are all still kind of wet is that seems to have dried quickly. It's a little more wet. Nothing's coming off. So nothing is rubbing off of any of these. They seem to have dried up. Dried really quickly. You know, sometimes some cardstocks, it'll just sort of, they're have a kind of coating, and the ink will just sit there on them. Let me clean that up. And do we want to do orange, or do we just, I tell you, I'm going to skip the orange. I'm going to do yellow. I'm going to go across every one of them. I haven't used these brushes in so long that I had to dust them off before I started. It's kind of embarrassing. I think these are probably getting a little bit mixed up and shuffled around, but that's fine. I think having to dust off my brushes is a sign that I need to pull out my oxides a little more and use them. Oh, this fossilized amber was the very first distress oxide I ever got, and it was a freebie from scrapbook.com. And I think my second one, no, maybe, oh gosh, what's the blue jeans? You know, that might have been my first one. This may have been my second one. After I said that, I was like, hey, wait a second. And they were both freebies. And then that was when I first started ordering products from scrapbook.com. Faded jeans, that's what it is. I knew it would pop in my head if I wasn't trying to think of it. Okay, we're going to look at these again. So that's the hammer mill. That's the accent opaque. I honestly cannot tell that much difference. This is the Simon Hurley. Let's see. Hammer mill. Let's say this was the accent. Then Simon Hurley. And then the Nina. And honestly, they all are blending really nicely. So let's continue. Let me clean this up. Oh, where's my... I've been keeping my water over here. I moved it earlier because I was working on one of the used books I got at the library. I was putting gesso on the outside of the cover because it was kind of yucky looking. Excuse me just a second. I've got to have some tea. Okay. It's getting to be allergy season. Now, think I am going to do green and then blue because we've got room on here. This is Lucky Clover. And I am out of practice using these brushes too because I have been ink blending a lot with the Simon Hurley inks, the Stellar inks, and have been using his brushes, which are a little pricey. So I couldn't get the whole big bundle at once. So I've been collecting them one or two at a time. I'm not getting as nice a blend on here, but I think it's because this brush wasn't used before. I'm a little out of practice using these. I know I said earlier, I don't even remember the last time I pulled out my oxides and used them. I wonder if this thing needs to be re-inked. I kind of don't want to do it now in the middle of this. It was a nice day today. We met my brother and my niece at the Thai restaurant. About 20 minutes south of us in Waverly Hall, Georgia. And we love that place. The food is great. The owners are really nice. And she is originally from Thailand, and he is retired military. And they went to Thailand over Christmas and posted tons of photos on Facebook. I was so jealous. I mean, it's just amazing the markets they have and all the food, different kinds of food, fresh food. Not American grocery store produce, I tell you. Set that one aside and do this one. I'll tell you something else too about the difference between this style brush and those Simon Hurley brushes. This is all, my hand is already hurting from the ink blending because of the way I have to hold these. Tell you what, this ink pad is not wanting to give up the ink either. I'll tell you one thing about oxides. If you get a little boo-boo, it is pretty easy to just keep going and sort of buff that out. Try to darken up this center here. Because I am trying to get, you know, a comparable amount of ink on each of these panels. And let's do a little bit of blue. This is the prize ribbon. So far I used the Festive Berries, the Fossilized Amber, and this Lucky Clover. And we're going to go a little darker with the blue. I guess I need to wipe this up. Hello. And probably need to get some of these out and re-ink them. And I'm going to try to move this along here a little bit. Oh, hey, don't you chew on that. Somebody's back here chewing on a paper project. Little heifer. Cats. I love my cats, but sometimes they're pests. Okay. No, I guess I'm Am I all talked out here? I guess maybe I am. Oh, good Lord, somebody's around the corner in the litter box now. If you hear a really loud thump and there's no action going on here, you'll know they've killed me. Especially her. I've never had such a teeny little cat, well, a small cat, that could smell up the whole house. Okay, and I have one more color to go here. I love this villainous potion. It is such a gorgeous purple. I should probably get it in the oxide, but I'm probably going to get one of the Stellar Ink purples. And I don't have a red, I noticed, in the oxide. I don't know what's up with that, but I guess I just never... I think I got candied apple thinking it was going to be red, but you know, to me it's really more orangey. And I probably could have used that here instead of the festive berries, but I'll tell you, this one doesn't seem to want to take in this color like this one did. Let's see if I just keep putting a little more on there. similar, not quite as smooth. And I'm not going to look just yet. I'm not sure which one of those is which. This pad was pretty juicy. Oops. That one did very well. As far as being smooth and even. Okay. So these are our panels. This one is the Nina Classic Crest Solar White. This is the Accent Opaque. And of course, on a normal panel, I would have worked these colors, gone back and forth a lot more than I did here. This is the Hammer Mill. And then we have the Simon Hurley. And here, let me get this cleaned up and get these out of the way. And this rag is about ready to go in the washing machine. Okay, so I am going to take a look at these here. And, you know, of course, some of this is you don't get, because, you know, we're not machines. We don't do exactly the blending, but just looking at them to check for like which is the most smooth blend. I'd say probably this one is the smoothest. Oh, well, that kind of shocks me. Because that's the Accent Opaque, and you know, I really didn't think it would do as well. Even though I love it, and I like, you know, like using it, I did not think it would do as well as either the Simon Hurley or the Nina. So which one's which? That's the Nina. That's the Simon Hurley, and that's the Hammer Mill. And I would be hard-pressed to say which one of these I thought was the absolute best. I think I like this blend. That's the Hammer Mill. I think I like that one the least. But honestly, they are all pretty darn comparable. You know, and this kind of thing is also very subjective. So I wouldn't hesitate to pull any of these out. Now, I don't know if it's the paper or my ink blending, but like the Festive Berries, I got a darker color on these two, which are the Simon Hurley and the Accent. I'm just shocked that I think the Accent looks the best. So anyway, I wouldn't tell anybody definitively which one's the best and which one isn't. And again, that's the Accent. Let me get it really close up here. The Hammer Mill. The Nina. And then the Simon Hurley. I think, quite frankly, I think these are all excellent cardstocks. And like I say, if I had taken a whole bunch more time, this is going to get smoother and, you know, will look a little better. But just looking at how they each took the color, not that much difference. So I'm kind of surprised that there wasn't one that was just like the super clear winner. But I would recommend any of these, quite frankly. The one thing I don't like about the Nina is it's not very white. Other than that, though, it does pretty darn well. The Hammer Mill, I will say, is a little thin for me. Even though it says 100-pound compared to the Accent, That's the accent, and that's the hammer mill. It's pretty floppy. And really, the GSM is what you need to go by anyway when you're looking at cardstock weights. These two, even though this is 110 and this is 100, they feel awfully similar. And the Simon Hurley too is more comparable. These are more comparable. This feels a little bit thinner. So anyway, that is our cardstock comparison for tonight. I'll tell you what, while we're here, I'm going to splash a little bit of water on them too. No, I'm not, because I'm probably going to go back and do some more blending before I do any of that. So I'm going to use all these. It was an interesting comparison. I honestly thought one of them was going to like be head and shoulders above the other three, but they're really not. So anywho, oh, I was going to show y'all. So my last video, I was doing these little boxes. I didn't think about it at the time. These were the 2 scraps I had left from cutting down the big 12 by 12 sheet. It was like a 12 by 5. So I cut those down to 5 by 7 and got these little boxes. But you could do a ton of these and put them in like a project sleeve, or a storage sleeve, and not put them together and tie them up until you're ready to use them. So then they wouldn't take much space. And also, I found I was having problems with these bowing in, but when you do these, if you push down on it a little bit, you don't get as much of that bowing when you first put these together. So anyway, I didn't glue that down. I thought I glued all these down, but anyway, so these are really fun to make. And I guess that's about all I have for tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me and watching my slow ink blending. And I will see you all in the next video.